नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नामस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पर्षद दीक्षितारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे So dear devotees, Srila Prabhupada talks about self-sufficiency in food, shelter, cloth, primary aspects of life, which he mostly he talks about that. And we know from our discussions and our common understanding that shelter we will speak about how we are thinking about it, but also food. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Krishi, Goraksha, Vanijyam. These three are the occupations of the Vaishyas. Now, so I've been thinking about this Krishi, the food production. How, of course, we last week we talked about um, dairy and oxen and how to really make it work. What all could it involve? How to still is being researched and discussed and discovered. But what all is involved is a whole plethora of like every aspect of research work and really making it efficient. How to really do it in the Western countries. It is not just like just take a land and start it. It requires a lot of preparation and work to really have a model ready, which the devotees can later on implement. So our Varnashrama colleges are more like research and development, and then teaching that kind of colleges, at least at this time. That's how I have come to understand. That's the direction which I'm going. In terms of food production, it's the same thing. The first issue is before we get into, because our thinking has been that food production means you like all what Balaram also does with the yolk. You um, grow crops, annual crops like wheat, rice, and so all these kind of grain items and vegetables, root crops, so these are the annual agriculture is what we have come to understand as Krishi. So I wanted to, in when Srila Prabhupada, my guiding principle was that Srila Prabhupada says 4 acre and a cow should be enough. Now, I've been trying to figure out how can this work, because in my experience it wasn't working. I've been trying to do it for a long time, and I saw so many farmers around the world, they have been trying to do this. They are having difficulties. How really to come up with a model which can work? Not only because right now it is subsistence agriculture, what Srila Prabhupada is speaking about, but right now we do need cash. So many cash we need, like car, insurance, medical, and so many expenses are there, which are you can't live without it. Just, that's how the world is right now. So what do we do? How to have agriculture which can produce some money to cash too, because Vaishyas do make money from it in like wealth. Money meaning it can take many forms, but wealth is created. The Vaishyas in Vrindavan were very wealthy. So, how exactly to do this has been a question in our mind. And from the point of view, when Srila Prabhupada says 4 acre, 1 acre, sometimes he says 1 acre too. And so different climates, different acreages are required. But I started thinking why, because I've seen different places where forests have been there, like forests of food. Like coconut trees I have seen in Kerala. I mean, very young age I saw one time. Coconuts are growing, jackfruit, black pepper, so many things were growing in that, and behind people's homes. People going and picking up all these things and cooking from that. And I was thinking, wow, this is nice. And it's not the only kind of agriculture which is possible. So that was like long time back. But while being in the US, I was also first thinking only doing an annual agriculture. Gradually, this whole permaculture thing started coming and I started looking at it, and then I realized actually it is how, at least in India, which I saw, people used to practice. And gradually my knowledge started expanding, and then I realized different countries, they had food forests, managed forests, especially the forests of huge forests of North America, South America, Europe, Africa. This was where many, like especially the North American and European countries, they were so cold. Srila says no civilized person would want to live in cold country. He was asked why, because you cannot keep clean. It's tough to take shower and like 2 3 times a day and keep sattvic nature. So people used to live more in the tropics areas, and we have seen most civilizations have developed around the tropics, big civilizations, and more or less. So I started trying to understand how people used to live in the forests. By what was their food? How? I mean, my understanding was growing up. Oh, North American, like Indians, they hunted, and later on I started understanding, oh, they used to grow corn, beans, and squashes. But I didn't know that they used to manage forests all over the US and South America. They used to manage huge, sophisticated forests, which which used to produce food without doing much. Like basically, their whole management was annual controlled fires and just making sure things are not exploitative. Otherwise, just there was so much abundance in the Lord's creation that huge forests were there of chestnuts, American chestnut, hickory, and what is this called? Hazelnut, and many berries, apple, pawpaw, persimmons, plums, all kinds of understory, and so on and so forth, berries and herbs and root crops and so many things which are normally, it's like a forest but edible. So let's go into that little bit. What are food forests? How pervasive were they? Do we really need to do annual agriculture like corn and other crops? Do we really need to like wheat and rice and other things? Even if we need to, how much should we concentrate on that? And especially in North America, we have plentiful of water that huge forests can be maintained. We don't lack water, just like of course in southern, southwest states, south in west states, there is lack of water, but still all other parts of the US, there is Canada, there is enough water available. So why should we not try to manage forests? What are food forests? Let us see. Let's come to this illustrates better. Okay. This is a food forest concept where there is a big tree, which is called many times a canopy tree, and a canopy layer, which gives shade and protection from heavy environmental disturbances like hurricanes, big snowstorms, cyclones, kind of wind, big rain, heavy rains. So this kind of provides a shade to so there is always a canopy tree, generally a nut tree. They are more resistant. So the temperate climate, US and Canada, they used to have chestnut trees, billions of chestnut trees. It's been said, billions. Like literally all over chestnut trees, they were very tall. They would get to even 100 feet tall. They were huge trees, and they would protect everything under them. They were like the big daddies. Of course, 100 years back, the Chinese chestnut came and destroyed everything. It was like a big genocide. All the those chestnut trees went down, and so then there was this under the first understory layer, which is mostly a fruit tree. Which is fruit tree. If it is tall, the fruits are heavier; they fall down, but nuts stay. Just like in we are developing this coconut food forest. So coconuts, they are nuts, very hard. They can also fall down, but they are very resistant. And I'll come to that. Then there is these shrub layers, like generally berries, and here in North America. Then herbaceous layer, which is normal crops like even beans or vegetables, and then root crops, even turmeric or carrots and other so many other things can be grown. Ground cover layers are there too. So this is like a general description or understanding of what a food forest looks like. Of course, then there is all these can be medicinal too. So North American people, they used to have very large well-developed system of herbal medicine. And this herbal medicine, all of these bark of these trees or nut, and different things and growing, it's not just herb growing in herbaceous layer, but all kinds of parts and barks and roots and everything could be used in all of this. So this was in the so what kind of uh, uh, this canopy could change by the climate. So let's say temperate North America, Canada, Europe, they are nut trees. These chestnut trees usually, and these are the big ones. But in let's say in the tropics, coconut trees, arachidonate trees, these are all palm trees which bend down in cyclones, especially. They don't have snowstorms and other things, so they don't need a huge protective canopy to protect other trees. And I show you what we did and how we were. I mean, I personally seen this protection happen from big, heavy. So this is our coconut food forest. This is what we have been doing. So coconuts are the canopy tree. They protect against, like we got huge hurricane 3 years back, Ian, biggest in Florida. It went right through our island. After the hurricane, all these fronds were gone, but the trees, they even bent down all the way down, like 1 feet from the ground. They were like that, and they sprang back up again. But the fronds were gone. But what happened is they protected all the understory trees. And this is like a banana shrub herbaceous plant. If it was out in the open without this canopy tree, it would have been gone. But under the canopy tree, this banana survived. Banana trees, all of them, they were like kind of bent out of shape, all of them. So we just like re earthed them, remolded them, and they were fine. We have many other trees, small trees. Let's say what all we have there. We have oranges, we have lemon trees, mango trees, curry leaves, neem trees, guava, java plum, jamun tree, sapota, many others. They all survived, like 90% they all survived this hurricane. And it is a proof. We went through this proof, and I've seen this work, this canopy system, understory system. And what happens is that, let us go through the advantages. The biggest advantage is this financial incentive. This is a non-profit that we're developing bioforest to propagate these food forests. This is what I've been hoping is the Krishi. One of the aspects of Krishi Varnashram College is food forest, how to teach at research and develop food forest. It's a cutting edge thing in the US. We don't have, like, few people have started developing food forest, and we are one of those people. Basically, we are all have been researching, trying to understand what to do. Here, there, little things have started happening. Nothing, not a good model yet, which one can say this is a model of food forest which others can follow. This is all in research phases, and home gardens are mostly doing it. But in a commercial scale, which can be replicated, which can be documented, that has not been done. And I know for sure that we are one of the cutting edges because Yale people and many other people have been interested, and they have interned with us, and to try to help bring this about. And so this has been gradually being developed with many students, very good students. So what the financial incentive, it's a lot of financial incentive for developing a food forest any place in the country, in the world, because as the climate is becoming more disrupted and more, like one time early frost comes or late frost comes, or drought comes, they become more frequent. And as or insects, I mean, one time the whole insects could come and wipe out crop, and or big cyclones, snowstorms, floods, um, all kinds of these kind of disturbances could have been becoming more often, or temperatures are not going too low or too high enough to produce or keep the soil very nutritious or not, or hard or soft. At different times rains come. So because of all of this, depending on one or two crops has become very difficult. So if we have multiple crops growing in the same acreage, it helps a lot, because a farmer would may want to is generally knows only one crop like really well now in the current system. But if one knows many crops, and they are kind of perennial, permanent crops. Perennial is permanent, annual is annual. So perennial crops, they are there. They are not going anywhere. One doesn't have to go every year and plant. They are there. So one crop goes away. Let's say in our case, banana crop just disappeared for 2.5 years. We couldn't harvest anything. Unfortunately, our understory had just been planted just like 6 months before. We did this experiment was successful. We know it will work because it did work, whatever the plants we had planted. But What didn't work was we didn't have another source of income earlier because we had just planted. If we had another source, we would have been okay. So this is a great financial incentive. If we can come up with a model which can give multiple sources of income and produce, then it will be so much beneficial. Other benefits are food security and the self-sufficiency. It provides a local source of nutritious organic produce for communities that often lack reliable and economical. I mean, this is for customer, I mean, consumer facing website. But food security, all kinds of foods can be produced. Like in our case here you see bananas. Banana can also be made into a flour, flour. You can cook like rotis with it, chapatis also. You can dry it and similarly coconuts too. Coconut wraps are there. Coconuts, 100 things one can make from these coconuts. Bananas are there, which are like sister crops to each other. Jackfruit we have been growing, mango, all these other fruits that I mentioned. And here we could we plan to grow, we haven't grown, but we plan to grow one row crop, annual crop of beans every year. We can grow and harvest, and which will help and give it nitrogen, give all the crops nitrogen whichever need. And root crops, turmeric, jam, we have been growing sweet potato, and it provides a very good cover crop to sweet potato. So all these, there's already so much food there, in this whole 1 acre. It's a huge all kinds of food is possible. Dietary diversity, of course, because we need the diversity. And then medicinal, there are many medicinal plants that we can grow in this forest bathing, we know. And it's like this is a I won't get too much into it. It also there is environmental benefits, climate resilience. Of course, we talked about the soil keeps regenerating. We don't have to keep on so much effort trying to do annual crops again and again, go into this and need big machinery. Water conservation, water quality, enhance transpiration, biodiversity, habitat, prevent soil erosion, local energy, integrate pest management. I can go into detail into each of these, but there are many benefits to having food forests. Baya also means food. So let's have some discussion on this. If anyone would like to comment or talk. Bharat Prabhu, want to say anything?
Oh, we are left here now.
I know.
Yeah, yeah, I like the concept very much, and I think that's the only viable way of farming sustainably. Mm. I see how it works here in Portugal. People they have a lot of nut trees. They have a lot of olive trees, a lot of oranges, and all kinds of citrus trees. And I also saw how Nityananda Prabhu was doing this in Fiji with his uh, coconut grove. I think 200 coconuts or so it was, between 100 and 200, and just an abundance of coconuts. And you can make so much from the coconut. Yeah, you can make the flour, and from the flour you can make a lot, and you can use the oil, you can use the milk. And then for each climate, it's different what you can use. And there are a lot of ways to even grow things that are not meant for your climate by being a little bit intelligent. So I think much more is possible than we often think. The normal thinking is just, oh, farming is hard because you do monocropping. And then if you use diversity, it becomes better. If you use the soil better, if you use a sustainable system, better, better, better. And then if you use food forests, wonderful. And it all starts with the land. And then we don't need to argue about Srila Prabhupada saying 4 acres enough.
Mm.
Yeah, it's not that. No, nowadays there's inflation and we need more land. It's just about using it more intelligently. First thought that I had is, well, then most devotees will say immediately, like, yes, but Srila Prabhupada said we're not growing commercially. So we're not growing commercially. Uh, and I have some thoughts about it.
Yeah.
And I was wondering what you say about it. And is it just for the temple communities? Is it in general to not exploit and to become greedy? Or do we need to be Vaishyas when we have the farms? Are we naturally, normally, because of our position of having a farm? And then we need to, it's our duty to be profitable. Where's the fine line? That's some thoughts.
I mean, this is interesting conversation, and I can again put it for whoever will view it, that Srila Prabhupada often said that we should not do um, any how to say it, money making farming, like don't grow to like cash crops,
Yeah.
and mostly do for your own sake whatever you need, and anything extra that you trade with, and that's how you can live simply. That is his oft repeated instruction. Now when we go into so devotees think meaning they understand Srila Prabhupada wants this, that we shouldn't do any commercial kind of farming. It is should be just for our personal life and trading. I don't I do not accept that it is for all time, place, and people,
Hmm.
because his own instructions in Bhagavatam and in Bhagavad Gita are saying otherwise. It's not we making up a new philosophy or countering Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada himself is talking about it. So we have to understand when he says this, to whom is he saying to? Why is he saying so? Because he is saying otherwise in the Bhagavatam. He's showing examples and he's explaining in the purports how the whole the social system, socio-economic system is system works. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying, Krishi Goraksha Vanijyam. These are the Vaishya Karma Swabhavajam. This is for Vaishyas. Vaishyas, you can't tell no, no, do only for personal this thing. How will they donate then 50% of their income? You know, I mean, they need to make so much money, a lot of money, so then they can give 50% for the benefit of the whole community and nation. They should be so. When he's saying that, first of all, he's giving those instructions to Brahminical community, which he's trying to inculcate within the ISKCON temples at that time. So Brahmana community is not supposed to do what he's saying. Srila Prabhupada is saying that do not try to make it a business. So Brahmanas are not supposed to do that. Their occupations are patan patan, yagya yagyat, dan pratigranat. There is no mention in these occupations of doing business. But Vaishyas are supposed to do the business. So when Srila Prabhupada would have set up the Varnashrama system sitting in Gita Nagari, as he said he would have explained and shown and all these things to different Vaishyas. His own example of when he's giving instructions to Garga money is you just chant 1 hour and just make money. See, it's different already because he understood he is acting like a Vaishya. He is more can be engaged like a Vaishya, not as a Brahmin. So he gave so like that he would have set up because he this knowledge what we have is coming from him from the Bhagavatam. It doesn't because he said different instructions to ISKCON devotees at the time who were Brahminical, that doesn't make all the instructions in the Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita irrelevant or now offensive now to think like that or do like that. That's a misapplication. So the Vaishya so what Brahmana and a Varnashrama college we need to do is to show the young devotees or young people who have Vaishya tendencies, this is how you can make money. But ethically, use the land so that it regenerates also, and you can make enough money. So you are taking care of animals, people, um, plants, soil, all these things. These are constraints. You can't go capitalistic, extract, extract, extract. These are the constraints, and a God conscious agriculture is like that. That's why I call it Isha agriculture, Isha Krishi, Isha agriculture. You have to be God conscious, Isha Vasya principle. And in that, you have to make money. You make the young people who are going into making, Vaishya tendency, you make money, enough money to support yourself, donate, run the whole community, and then gradually you get purified. And then after some years, you say, I don't want, I just want to live simply. That's the Devi Varnashram ways like that. So for those people, for them, we have to show how it will be sustainable and financially viable and profit making. So we have to do that. That's why in Varnashrama college, I got into all these things. Coconut farming is one, and I have not made profit from it, but I know going in that direction more and more how to do it, especially with the food forest when it is set up and how it is commercial. It's a huge endeavor and requires a lot of research work with universities. Yale has a forest management department, and I want to work with them. They have many programs and grants available, and so now more and more government is getting into it. Basically, even the social investors, they are getting into it. They want to help do this kind of research, this kind of agriculture, because monoculture is really killed or killing so much productivity of land. So there is a lot of work to be done. Once it is research done and we come up with different ways to really make it efficient, I'm sure there will be money could be made ethically, doing it, so that we can teach in the colleges the children how to do this for the Vaishya people, uh,
For what?
Vaishya students.
Mm.
And Brahmanas, they will have their own land, and when they farm, they should do it only for their own purpose, not to go into profit making. Because profit making, if it is not very God conscious, it becomes very soon it becomes greed and competition and jealousy and envy and all this, because money is like that. But someone has the tendency to make money, you can't say, oh, you will, oh, you be scared. No, they can't. Krishna says you will be forced to do it even if your nature is like that. uh,
Mm. So one purpose then is to show, yeah, with, let's say, with the figurative 4 acres and 1 cow, all economic problems can be solved, like Prabhupada is saying,
yeah,
to prove that, and to offer a model that is supporting Vaishyas.
yeah,
teaching them how to practically do it. Yeah, I can imagine there can be different ways to support also the different Vaishnavas to understand what kind of farm model do they want to run. Is it more profit oriented if they have the inclination and capabilities, or are they more leaning towards the renouncing side, as it looks like several have the tendency or the understanding, which can lead to too much overemphasis on the simple living side. And yeah, I'm reminded of the lazy intelligence that Sri Prabhupada's mentioning also, and examples that I saw where I was struck thinking like, oh, wow, these simple people, they just grow their rice, and then for 1.5 years they have their stock, and then they they are lazy. But then it's a kind of a lazy intelligence, not over endeavoring. Maybe it's rather under endeavoring, and yeah, it could be misunderstood. And I get here it's more about showing a good way of using the newest research and understanding from food forests, and also from growing in general, market growing perennials, and then combining it to approach that is also proving Srila Prabhupada right when he's saying there is no hunger problem in the world, there is no overpopulation. He is saying that several times, and yeah, so many cultures, they just grow some little stuff around their house, but it can be so foolish in some ways. Like in Fiji, I asked the Fijians how they grow their papaya trees, and they were like, you spit it out and then the papayas grow. And I was spitting and nothing is growing. And so I rather like to dig a little hole, and then I put the seeds and I put them apart in the right size, or I give some cow manure and water it. So yeah. Yeah, there's no food problem in the world. So self-sufficiency, one thing is self-sufficiency. How can we be self-sufficient as devotees who just want to live simple? And how can Vaishyas grow? Yeah, what different concepts are there? I can imagine the Vanashram College can also support giving different models or different examples, different cases, showing different success cases for different cultures with different crops.
See, this there are many. This is from Pacific Northwest. Now there is a new science called, what is it called? Paleoethobotany. Palentio Ethnobotany.
Leo.
Paleoethnobotany is the study of past human-plant relationships, analyzing ancient plant remains like seeds, pollen, wood, from archaeological sites to understand how people used plants for food, medicine, fuel, construction, and ritual, revealing past environments, diets, agriculture origins, and cultural practices.
And this is attractive for people who want to make the world a better place, who have
Yeah, so
somewhat average average consciousness, more intelligence.
what is happening is using this, no, they're able to kind of map how people used to live, and they are coming up with all, oh, now they are understanding that in North America and Europe, there used to be huge tracklands of managed food forests where all these things about nuts. This was a land of groves of cultivated fruits, fruit and nut trees. Some were grown in orchards while others grew in annual crop fields in ancient agroforestry systems. There was fire management and persimmons, chestnuts, gooseberries, currants, black walnuts. These are all like planted purposefully. So many, like so many things. Problem is that we have come to understand our food. This is what food is. What? Rice, dal. These are the subjis like 20, 30 vegetables, and that's it. And some fruits like banana, apple, oranges, grapes, like a few more. Like that's it. Here, there, oh, this special something. There are like thousands
Yeah.
other vegetables, fruits, thousands, literally thousands. We, I made a list in temperate in New York at our farm, 600 some crops in the, we are making, we are developing this medicinal food forest at the Sprout Creek farm.
Mm.
We have 600 some plant species that we are planning to grow there. And many of them are foods. Like at least 300 products are there, crops are there. 300. Yeah, nuts, like 50 kind of nuts are there. Like literally, like I'm not joking, there's so many nuts are available. Only a few nuts we know. But there were people, I mean, the varieties which were, so when we say culinary art, people, we combine with so many different, of course, this is there in Chaitanya Charitamrita and everywhere. But when we talk about when Srimati Radharani, she is not cooking anything which she had cooked before. That doesn't mean only food techniques. It also mean ingredients. They're like,
Mm.
of course, in spiritual world we are talking about all new crops. But here, as a reflection also, the varieties are not just in cooking, but in also in the origin of crops. There are hundreds of vegetables. Look at these fruits. Pawpaw, has anyone eaten pawpaw? But in North America, pawpaw and persimmons, they used
No.
to be everywhere. Crab apple was a normal food. Cherries we know, but there are 10 or 15 kinds of cherries.
Yeah.
This is a sand cherry. And then this is cane fruits, mulberries, raspberries, so many
Mm.
kinds of grapes. It's like so many things are there to eat. And
Now, I remember I was feeling like a little child in Fiji because you can grow so much. And now in the Western cultures, like some in the hemisphere where it's colder, now many would say it's not possible here. I mean, you can grow mm, a lot of nut trees, but then also this takes a while. So what to do till a nut tree is becoming productive? And how many nut trees do you need? And how many acres do you need then?
so that's why, see, it is generation after generation, forests are maintained. It is common, anybody can go and so look. I mean, if we even look at North America and in Europe, there are forests there, public forests. People can go walk there. You know, just imagine if even 1/10, like 1/10 is a lot. So much food can be created in that. For the whole of the country, people can go pick today. I want to have not cooking lot so much. I want to have this kind of fruit or this kind of nut, like whole foods, instead of just cooking, chopping, putting spice. That is also another cooking for sure. But we have missed this whole thing of eating fruits and nuts and herbs and plants or leaves, and just like that whole aspect we have like not doing also. There's so much like that available all around, in the Lord's creation. So all over, so there are so many examples. Only a few, two, three I've picked up. Northwest, Northeast, everywhere they are there, including where we are in Dutchess County. There used to be a tribe, an Indian American tribe, and they used to grow a whole everywhere, mostly on the river banks. So all around river banks, miles and miles and miles, one is going miles and miles and miles all around the river bank. There will be, because of the accessibility and water source, everything all around the banks, miles, 100 miles like long, there are food forests.
Yeah.
All over the world. Mayan culture, Amazon, huge
Yeah.
food forest are there.
Now, I'm certain this is enabling abundance that was definitely available for Satya Yuga. Now, one could say in this age, it's not for everyone, and it's not that governments will pick it up. Maybe there will be some studies and some subsidies and things like that, but it's not for big scale. Mm, it's great for us showing that it's easily viable once you have planted a bunch of trees, and meanwhile you need to grow differently.
So, see, it's like in 5 or 6 years, one can start getting nuts. It's not too long. And once you start getting nuts, you always will keep having nuts. For some nuts trees and fruit trees, they go hundreds of years. Like mango tree can go for 400, 500, 600 years, 800 years. It's like such a long, like if we grow fruit, I mean, this is like a whole concept of fruit tree, nut tree is should be part or parcel of our living and
Yeah,
passing on to generation after generation. That's what human beings are supposed to be doing. So past generations, us, everyone should be growing fruit trees, nut trees. They take longer time to establish. But longer time doesn't mean too long, 5, 6 years. Even coconut trees after 5 years they are in full bloom. They can start to produce nicely. So by 7 years they are fully like mature. So Europe had so many. What I found and what happened is this monoculture that came about a lot to do with Romans. So what the Romans did, see, Romans, what they did was their expansion system. It's just like how the capitalist system is now is just model after that. So it's interesting to understand how the world changed from agroforestry in basically in North America and Europe. So the Romans, their system of expansion to, or the reason expansion is to dominate more and more, of course, but there is an economic reason also. The way the Roman army was funded was by private funding, merchants or people and like more whatever the aristocracy would fund wars, armies. They would go to a new country, they would subdue that country, and then the repayment to these people who have funded was in terms of land grants, because that was the economy, no? Land grant. So the land grants were done. These people were not of living there. They were kind of occupiers. Not kind of, they were. So now their only point was to extract. For a few years till the military occupation can be maintained there. See, they are not thinking of generation after generation there. So how you can get quick money? Annual crops. So they used to raise forests, agroforest, forests. All this has been found in, was it paleoethnobotanical studies and paleoecological studies. They found in the strata all these things and they've carbon analyzed it and like that. They come up with this understanding. There were food forests all around Europe. And among around the years whenever it is listed that Romans went and occupied those countries, listed those disappeared. And the Romans started making these annual crops there, using the local people as slaves to grow those annual crops, get the economic benefit out of them, and pay them and become more rich. So that's how the annual cropping system came about, because that was the most efficient way of getting quick returns and not think about the future generations or the ecology or anything. They were not concerned about how what will happen to those lands. And that has become agriculture as we know it. Like this is the agriculture and this is how it should be done. And they used to have it was that one time, sometime even whole of Rome didn't used to grow any grains. All the wheat used to come from Egypt and other countries, not from Italy. Everything was being imported, or a lot of it, big, huge granaries, and that's how the whole civilization started becoming gluttonous. There's so much ample food and money and everything is flowing, just like now. This is the system that we shouldn't devotees shouldn't try to follow that whole system. We should have some patch, especially in colder climates, some patch of because you get only a few months to farm, and in that trying to do annual cropping is it's so inefficient, because 6 months, one say, oh, we cannot farm 6 months, 8 months you cannot farm like in Canada. You know, no, but if there are food forests, then you farm 24, 12 months of the year. In the winter, like in the winter also crops can grow. Many of these, of course, you would harvest earlier, but there will be so much harvest happening fall time, even in the like in winter times, springtime, every time there is food available all over. uh, of course more is there in fall and spring, but still there will be food throughout, and you manage, you do other things with the crop pruning and such you have to do during the winter.
How much percentage of labor do you see from 100% of labor going to dairy, going to food forests, going to um, the the seasonal growing.
I didn't understand the question, Prabhu.
Like, let's say you have 10 workers on your farm, and uh, how many are going to work only on together with the cows, dairy, and how many are working on trees, and how much uh, to allocate for the seasonal cropping. I wonder how much space you see in the farm
Yes.
system,
So,
like a range. Yeah.
so what I've learned now, and by hard knocks, I've learned that when planting these food forests, like what we are doing now is we clear cut royal palms, which were nursery trees, so we had to cut them out. Now there is completely barren land around 15, 17, 18 acres. So what we are doing is we are plant and we are making a nursery of coconut. So many brown coconuts are there now. We are making a nursery of coconuts. Three saplings will come out, and every 25 feet, 20 feet, we are going to make hole and plant the coconut trees. They will take 5 to 6 years to really bear fruits. Now 5 6 years, we are just putting in money and time and nothing is coming out. No, what we are going to do is to plant some like amla, even pineapple, banana, which will come out within a couple of years, 3 years also, fruits. But that is also just putting money in for what 2 3 years. What do we do? Or we have to plant, like let's start with maybe a quarter acre we plant like this, like agroforestry. But then there is enough space there to do annual crops also. See, so a good amount of time is spent doing annual crops till more and more trees come up. So a combination, more time is spent, like half maybe in the beginning, and then gradually the tree starts growing bigger and they start producing more. Then the annual can become less, or this can produce more income and can repay and like that from the past years, and annual can keep growing. But sometimes what happens is more when more canopy grows, then the annual will become less because there will be more shade and more space taken up, more rooting system has become more. So generally it will become less annual cropping. Like root crops like turmeric in tropical, we are planning to grow root crops, turmeric, ginger, yam, all these things. So which will help uh, put money on the table. And they are also not like so much of work to be done, because once you plant it and every couple of months you have to compost it and mound it, make sure weeds are not there. But generally they are insect pesticide, pest free, disease free, maintained well. So it's like that, bro. Initially we have to do both, but judiciously planning it resource wise, how much to put, because it doesn't give money enough right away. And then later on, when more crops are coming and annual, these perennial crops start harvesting, then one can even engage other people also, because there'll be more work, more crops coming. It's not, still, it's a work in progress. So much work is required to be done. Uh, the capital costs were so high here, like millions of dollars of land. So that's where I've been really engaged. Of course, I've been working on this off and on, off and on, off and on. And a few devotees, few people, they just do this thing, but I've really not put my time and attention into really making it work. But I've learned a lot from these knocks and with what to do, what not to do, and how to do it, which I hope will be very useful when we teach this.
When ChatGPT came out, I made um, some research, or not, maybe a year later or so, or 2 years later. Anyhow, I researched about the Vedic farming um, techniques and um, pesticides, herbicides, when to grow, where to grow, and also the kind of food forestry from Vedic times, and some techniques that are still present in India. How how do you envision to research or to incorporate that?
Mm, I mean, there are scriptures like that, which are just talking like that about it, but it is hard to replicate the whole environment and all the crops and everything which the ingredients are of those techniques. It is so people have been doing a lot of more work, and they have been like many people here and there have been doing. It's not like a like this is how just like a normal science, no, in which is taught in colleges about agro, whatever with these tree management, forest management. It's a lot is very rigorously researched science about trees. This is not like that yet. It needs to be like many Indian colleges, they have done research work, but very haphazard. Whenever I try to go, I can't find some single place where I can go and find exactly how to do this. There is none. At least I don't know. Maybe somebody else will find and share with me the link. So people have done a lot of work, and I have not been able to really understand how to do it. I got some experts to come and try to show me, okay, what is, well, they don't know also. I saw that because here we have a different kind of sun location, different kind of intensity of the sun, different kind of crops. So somebody was saying, oh, this person knows everything about this in India, this thing, that thing. Then I had a talk over the phone with him, and I realized he's just talking from Indian point of view. He doesn't know here. So I said to him, okay, why don't you come and stay here for 3 months, maybe 6 months, and see how the whole environment climate works. It is very labor intensive in India because so cheap labor. Here something else needs to be done, some other maybe enclosed things, and legally some things we cannot do. When I told all these things to those people, they didn't even come, because it's just too hard. For months, one has to come and do research, like just on that, how to apply it here, how to apply it. These are like their principles are there, but not like exactly how to do. You have to test them, research, bring up for each climate, soil, the sun time of the everything changes with that. The vegetation changes, the way the plant works and reacts changes. So you can't just apply it just like blindly, you know. So so I've used some other things from around here which people have told, oh, this thing, that thing. There are many, like, how to say it, traditional knowledge keepers, like our Alex is one. He stays here with us, and he is one of the masters of this knowledge, but he also his knowledge is not so like heavily. is much, much more than me, of course. But so like that, there are permaculture knowledge is available like that from Native Americans here. There, many people are trying to research. They are really these one of a kind geniuses, and they are all around. I'm sure everywhere in the world you'll find people like that, who are like forest, who understand inherently this is the way to live, and they have been trying to live against this world. I will one day have this whole interview with Alex and see his mindset. So these kind of people are there. So they have come up with their own techniques how to do it from the local environment and local herbs or minerals or different things. So now I use them also, like that. So a lot of research is required, a lot of people required. So what I'm trying to do, because all your questions, these are like monetarily and knowledge wise. What I've been lacking is terms of money, the capital to do all this research. And grants we've applied for a lot of them. I think, did we get any research grant till now? None. I don't think we have gotten any research grant. Mhm. Not here. So, but they need university. Generally, the research grants we get through university, and university is ready to cooperate with us and work with us. We have had extensive conversations, University of Florida and other couple of other universities too. Well, we were part of one research grant for carbon sequestration, but not a research grant directly to us. But so universities are ready to work with us, but we needed some capital of our own, and had when the hurricane came and our crop vanished, and so definitely this is something to be done. What I have now started trying to do is to create these, calling them medicinal food forests, and having physicians fund it for themselves because they need it.
I did not understand the last part.
Doctors, they need it.
Pundits needed, yeah.
Physicians, doctors, and especially who want to get into herbal and food as medicine and other things. So that could fund it. So that's how I've been. Let's see if Krishna allows. Uh, I mean, it's not one technique. Some way or the other, if we can keep funding and research and other, this is so we could be the leading voice and leading. Already we are. More and more we can become a leading direction we can give to the real to the agriculture as it will evolve in the US. Let's say the whole world social and economic and political system, financial system stays as it is for years to come, decades. Nothing changes. S- Anyway, the world is moving towards more and more, especially from the intelligentsia side and also in locally farmers I see in talking, funders, policymakers. Whenever I talk to them, the last 10 years I've seen gradual movements towards these agroforestry principles, not monoculture. Everyone is like more or less people understand that monoculture is not the way to go forward. But what is the alternative is being talked about, researched, and everything. It will become more and more anyway. So we can be leading and shaping it, and also helping, getting help from them to research and ourselves. Let's say if the political socio-economic system collapses and we need to now figure out what to do about our own food, well, all this research that we did will come in handy. and food for forest that we have created will come handy. So this research is the most important to do right now. So what I was thinking is making here using this coconut food forest as the US Coconut Institute, I'm calling it. It has not been incorporated or anything developed, it's just a concept right now. But US Food Coconut Institute, where I was thinking people from all the tropical regions could come and learn how to do coconut based farming, agroforestry farming. All around the world, they could come here and learn. 3 months, 6 months. I mean, we need to have a whole thing set up and like everything worked out gradually. And I'm hoping like students from really good colleges, especially Yale College and other colleges, Stanford, they have good, like they are thinking about these things. And I want to get them as we have had these interns before, and I want to continuously get these interns and other maybe apprentices, and maybe then they join us and develop the whole non-profit angle for it. So this is the direction I want to go. Can attract the real intelligent class of people because this is a big solution to the world. Europe also same thing one could do. I see the same direction it's going more so more than in US. Okay. I worked out different systems for all over US theoretically. Little bit research I've done. I've gone around and here there. A little bit research, but as we expand from these two farms, that's how I'm going to do different food forests in different climates. Mediterranean climate, as you were talking about, with olives and other nut trees and fruit trees, herbs is one. Almond pecan trees.
They use cork oak a lot here,
Ah,
just to produce the cork and then other industrial products from that. They take a little longer, but they are giving a very good revenue.
mhm. Mm. In Sprout Creek Farm, we have 40 acres of forest. I'm going to gradually convert it into this. This is my idea. Let's see who comes along and who wants to do this more. That's how we would do it more and more. Develop that first. Okay, Prabhu. Should we call it a day today?
Okay.
We didn't have too much involvement today with the different devotees are sick. People have messaged me saying we are sick. And so,
Yeah.
but thank you very much, Prabhu. Very good
You-
conversation we had.
Mm. Yeah. Thank you for presenting food forest concepts. Yeah.